You know I had to do this one. You know I couldn't skip this one. For anyone that's stuck around for a while and has been a part of this channel for a long time now, you'll know that I reviewed the debut mixtape from Ashnikko back in 2020, was it? I think. I didn't really review it particularly too positively, but I will say, for as bad as the writing and the lyrics from that album were, I didn't think musically it was all that terrible in places. I could see some vision with that mixtape, and of course now I couldn't skip this. I couldn't skip this album. I had to make sure I listened to it just in case we got any tracks like the Clitoris the Musical track, whatever the hell that was, because that was one of the funniest things I heard, honestly, this decade. And I'm like, I can't not hear that again. Like I can't not skip that. If I hear that again, that'll be amazing. I need to know. Curiosity gets the best of me, and I needed to know if this debut album from Ashnikko was going to provide the atrocities that we got from the mixtape. She is someone that's gained virality through TikTok. She's had some minor hits and has some recognizability. She's not an artist that I don't think your average person will have heard of, but I think if you're very online and you're very edgy, I could imagine you being the type of person that would enjoy what Ashnikko brings to the table. But otherwise, if you have good taste, you probably don't like Ashnikko. Very sort of millennial, sort of like crossed over with Zoomer type pop music. It's, like I say, edgy. There's some hip hop elements that come through. There's some like dark ethereal elements that come through as well. Very in your face with the delivery at times too. Ashnikko is the type of artist I think people out there could really detest, but there'll be some similar to like the fan base that Melanie Martinez has, I would say, actually, where she just has a cult following and the people that love her really love her. The funny thing about WEEDKILLER, she called it WEEDKILLER, for God's sake, man. The funny thing about WEEDKILLER is that I don't think the moments that are low are as low as the really horrendous low moments from that mixtape. However, as an overall product and as an overall like project album listening experience, I think it's worse than the mixtape, honestly. Not by a huge amount. I think they're pretty close, to be honest with you. But I would argue that this one misses more than it hits. And there's not really a song quite as good as Daisy, which was the minor hit single from the last one. And I don't love that track, but I definitely think it had some qualities to it that are certainly more likable than some of her other output as well. And yeah, the overall feeling listening to this, I just think is worse. It's a bit more try-hard with how it's trying to sound a bit more darker and ethereal in places, but when you're pairing it up with her writing and her really bad lyrics, it actually makes it more cringe rather than her being a bit more outspoken and yappity and a bit more sort of like adolescent with her delivery, because at least that was funny. Like, I got some entertainment value out of it when she was being like that. But on this one, I don't really find there much to be entertaining or enjoyable, which is such a shame. Couldn't she have at least made me laugh? I mean, I'm not like laughing with the joke, I'm just laughing at how bad it is, and there's nothing really like that this time. God damn it. If anything, we've just got like moments like You Make Me Sick, which is really early on in the album, already poorly executed with the delivery. She just sounds really grim. Her voice just doesn't fit this, whatever she's doing at all. And honestly, I'm just getting female Tekashi 6ix9ine vibes with the instrumentation and the delivery and her annoying vocal tone. Like, I know there are people out there that really think some of his stuff are, you know, snaps and bangs and is hard hitting, but I never really got it. I like hard-hitting bangers, but when the vocals just sound this bad, it doesn't really click with me, and this track is exactly like that. You've got Worms, which just starts already this string of tracks with just like 4 or 5 individual one-liners that are just so awful to listen to. She's made of raspberry jelly and all-American pie. Super Soaker is worse with this, by the way, because there's just like full on innuendos and references to naughty things throughout the track, and she just doesn't sell it at all. It doesn't sound particularly flattering or enjoyable. It just sounds really poor, and the writing again just is not done well. It's just the most basic sort of writing, like our bodies stick together like glue and stuff like that. It's just like, ugh. Don't look at it though. Body like a swordfish, she knows she got a catch. Like, what are you saying? What are these lines? What is this? What is this? Is that something like SpongeBob would say to like pick up girls? Like, what is this lyric? Honestly, the vocal filters on this track too, across this album actually, are super ugly, like worse than I remember her sounding before. Really unflattering is a word I'll continuously keep using here because I think it really applies. And yeah, just harsh on the ears, grim on the ears. The possession of a weapon, or as she says, the possession of the pussy weapon, just has this like double sort of vocal thing where she's singing and then there's like this menacing voice kind of coming in. It kind of like a bit like something like Kendrick Lamar would do. I guess it's such a weird comparison and feels so insulting to say this, but like how he kind of like uses different characters and changes up his voice or adds in a vocal filter to then, you know, show the difference in tone. And you know something like Swimming Pools is a good example, or Man City for example. It kind of has that effect on this track, but it just sounds so cartoonish and goofy, and the lines that are coming out just are really, really awkward. There's this forced edginess as well that comes on some of the tracks that I really can't stand. I never liked it before. Chokehold, Cherry Python being an example, and Weedkiller, the title track. Two tracks that kind of have a bit more of like a Grimes influence. I think the Grimes influence has always been there anyway, and a bit like of a poppy influence. I've just dropped my notes, that's great. Where like, you know, there's kind of like a bit more of a heaviness to the instrumentation coming through, but has a bit more of like an erratic nature to it. Honestly, when Grimes does it, I'm not too sure I like it when she does it, and I think she's probably one of the better artists doing it actually, and I'm certainly not a big fan of Poppy. So yeah, just anything that reminds me of that just sounds really goofy and awkward to me. Again, words I keep using. I can't explain this one, but Cheerleader sounds like Riverdale, the TV show Riverdale. I think I'm just going to leave that one to hang because there's something right about this when I say it. Please just listen to it and then report back to me. But seriously, Cheerleader, it sounds like Riverdale, and I don't know how or why. There is a saving grace amongst all of this mess, though. Dying Star, which has one of the most unexpected collaborations of the year. We've got Ethel Cain. Ethel Cain on an Ashnikko album. Don't quite know how this one happened, but honestly, it kind of works. It's kind of like the sort of like culmination of everything I think she was trying to do, with the dark wave, ethereal stuff coming through, and just sounds more tasteful and just sounds a bit more impactful with what it's attempting to go for. I think Ethel just brought a bit of taste to the table. I think Ashnikko felt that she had to step things up because, you know, Ethel has quite an artistic vision with the style of music that Ethel makes. And I think it just brought out a bit more focus in what Ashnikko was trying to do and created a more interesting sounding track. It's quite dynamic, the vocals sound much better, the lyrics aren't quite as stand out in how bad they are. Yeah, I just thought this track worked somehow. It was a good collab. It is a shame you have to wait right till the end for that one good track though, but ultimately, yeah, it's just kind of part two of Ashnikko's journey into making cringe. Maybe a bit more of a focus on a unique sound on this album, a consistent, concise sound across the album, but doesn't make up for the vocal issues, the lyrical issues, and just the overall lack of maturity and cringe that comes through across everything she tries to do. That one track can't save this from being bad for me. I'm going to go 4 out of 10. It's, yeah, not great, and once again I thought it just seemed right to do another video on her music, because I did the first one, I did the mixtape, and this is the debut official album. It had to be done. So thank you for watching this review. Tell me your thoughts in the comments if you agree or disagree. Please tell me why. Have a good day. Subscribe if you haven't already, and goodbye.